The following is a free-for-download audiobook available on krishnapath.org. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. Preface. There is no difference between the teachings of Lord Chaitanya presented here and the teachings of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya are practical demonstrations of Lord Krishna's teachings. Lord Krishna's ultimate instruction in Bhagavad Gita is that everyone should surrender unto him, Lord Krishna. Krishna promises to take immediate charge of such a surrendered soul. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is already in charge of the maintenance of this creation by virtue of his plenary expansion, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But this maintenance is not direct. However, when the Lord says that he takes charge of his pure devotee, he actually takes direct charge. A pure devotee is a soul who is forever surrendered to the Lord, just as a child is surrendered to his parents or an animal to its master. In the surrendering process, one should, number 1, accept things favorable for discharging devotional service. 2, reject things unfavorable. 3, believe firmly in the Lord's protection. 4, feel exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord. 5, have no separate interest from the interest of the Lord. And 6, always feel oneself meek and humble. The Lord demands that one surrender unto him by following these 6 guidelines. But the unintelligent so-called scholars of the world misunderstand these demands and urge the general mass of people to reject them. At the conclusion of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna directly says, quote, "Engage your mind in always thinking of me, offer obeisances, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me." End quote. Bhagavad Gita 9:34. However, the scholarly demons misguide the masses of people by directing them to the impersonal, unmanifest, eternal, unborn truth, rather than the personality of Godhead. The impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers do not accept that the ultimate aspect of the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one desires to understand the sun as it is, one must first face the sunshine, then the sun globe, and after entering into that globe, come face to face with the predominating deity of the sun. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, the Mayavadi philosophers cannot go beyond the Brahman effulgence, which may be compared to the sunshine. The Upanishads confirm that one has to penetrate the dazzling effulgence of Brahman before one can see the real face of the personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore teaches direct worship of Lord Krishna, who appeared as the foster child of the king of Vraja. He also suggests that the place known as Vrindavan is as good as Lord Krishna, because there is no difference between the name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia of Lord Krishna and Lord Krishna himself. That is the absolute nature of the Absolute Truth. Lord Chaitanya has also recommended that the highest mode of worship in the highest perfectional stage is the method practiced by the damsels of Vraja. These damsels, gopis, or cowherd girls, simply loved Krishna without a motive for material or spiritual gain. Lord Chaitanya also recommends Srimad Bhagavatam as a spotless narration of transcendental knowledge, and he pointed out that the highest goal in human life is to develop unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya's teachings are identical to those given by Lord Kapila, the original propounder of Sankhya Yoga, the Sankhya Yoga system of philosophy. This authorized system of yoga recommends meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of meditating on something void or impersonal. One can meditate on the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu even without practicing involved sitting postures. Such meditation is called perfect samadhi. This perfect samadhi is verified at the end of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says, quote, "And of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all." End quote. Bhagavad Gita 647. Lord Chaitanya instructed the mass of people in the Sankhya philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which maintains that the Supreme Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation. Lord Chaitanya taught this philosophy through the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. He taught that the holy name of the Lord is the sound incarnation of the Lord, and that since the Lord is the absolute whole, there is no difference between his holy name and his transcendental form. Thus, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can directly associate with the Supreme Lord by sound vibration. As one practices this sound vibration, he passes through 3 stages of development: the offensive stage, the clearing stage, and the transcendental stage. In the offensive stage, one may desire all kinds of material happiness, but in the second stage, one becomes clear of all material contamination. When one is situated on the transcendental stage, he attains the most coveted position, the stage of loving God. Lord Chaitanya taught that this is the highest stage of perfection for human beings. Yoga practice is essentially meant for controlling the senses. The central controlling factor of all the senses is the mind. Therefore, one first has to practice controlling the mind by engaging it in Krishna consciousness. The gross activities of the mind are expressed through the external senses, either for the acquiring of knowledge or the functioning of the senses in accordance to the will. The subtle activities of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing. In accordance to one's consciousness, the individual is either polluted or clear. If one's mind is fixed on Krishna, his name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia, all one's activities, both subtle and gross, become favorable. The Bhagavad Gita's process of purifying consciousness is the process of fixing one's mind on Krishna by talking of his transcendental activities, cleansing his temple, going to his temple, seeing the beautiful transcendental form of the Lord, nicely decorated, hearing his transcendental glories, tasting food offered to him, associating with his devotees, smelling the flowers and tulsi leaves offered him, engaging in activities for the Lord's interest, etc. No one can bring the activities of the mind and senses to a stop, but one can purify these activities through a change in consciousness. This change is indicated in Bhagavad Gita when Krishna tells Arjuna of the knowledge of yoga whereby one can work without fruitive results. Quote, "O son of Pritha, when you act by this intelligence, you can free yourself from the bondage of works." Bhagavad Gita 2:39. A human being is sometimes restricted in sense gratification due to certain circumstances such as disease, etc., but this is not the prescription. Without knowing the actual process by which the mind and senses can be controlled, less intelligent men either try to stop the mind and senses by force, or they give in to them and are carried away by the waves of sense gratification. The regulative principles and the rules of yoga, the various sitting postures and breathing exercises performed in an attempt to withdraw one's senses from the sense objects, are methods meant for those who are too much engrossed in the bodily conception of life. The intelligent man who is situated in Krishna consciousness does not try to forcibly stop his senses from acting. Rather, he engages his senses in the service of Krishna. No one can stop a child from playing by leaving him inactive. A child can be stopped from engaging in nonsense by being engaged in superior activities. The forceful restraint of sense activities by the 8 principles of yoga is recommended for inferior men. Being engaged in the superior activities of Krishna consciousness, superior men naturally retire from the inferior activities of material existence. In this way, Lord Chaitanya teaches the science of Krishna consciousness. That science is absolute. Dry mental speculators try to restrain themselves from material attachment, but it is generally found that the mind is too strong to be controlled and that it drags them down to sensual activities. A person in Krishna consciousness does not run this risk. One has to engage the mind and senses in Krishna conscious activities, and Lord Chaitanya teaches one how to do this in practice. Before accepting sannyas, the renounced order, Lord Chaitanya was known as Vishvambar. The word Vishwambar refers to one who maintains the entire universe and who leads all living entities. This maintainer and leader appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya to give humanity these sublime teachings. Lord Chaitanya is the ideal teacher of life's prime necessities. He is the most munificent bestower of love of Krishna. He is the complete reservoir of all mercies and good fortune. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and the Upanishads, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, and he is worshipable by everyone in this age of disagreement. Everyone can join him in his Sankirtan movement. No previous qualification is necessary. Just by following his teachings, anyone can become a perfect human being. If one is fortunate enough to be attracted by his features, one is sure to be successful in one's life's mission. In other words, those who are interested in attaining spiritual existence can be easily relieved from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. These teachings presented in this book are non-different from the Lord. Being engrossed in the material body, the conditioned soul increases the pages of history by all kinds of material activities. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya can help human society stop such unnecessary and temporary activities. By these teachings, humanity can be elevated to the topmost platform of spiritual activity. These spiritual activities actually begin after liberation from material bondage. Such liberated activities in Krishna consciousness constitute the goal of human perfection. The false prestige one acquires by attempting to dominate material nature is illusory. Illuminating knowledge can be acquired from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and by such knowledge, one can advance in spiritual existence. Everyone has to suffer or enjoy the fruit of his activity. No one can check the laws of material nature which govern such things. As long as one is engaged in the fruit of activity, he is sure to be baffled in an attempt to attain the ultimate goal of life. I sincerely hope that by understanding the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, human society will experience a new light of spiritual life, which will open the field of activity for the pure soul. Om Tat Sat. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, March 14, 1968. Birthday of Lord Chaitanya, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Temple, New York, New York.